Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Show Business. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf,
live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
Each week we bring you some news, views, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops. Whether you're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can help. We can help. And we do help. Gosh, crazy week, Jeff.
Yeah, it has most certainly been a crazy week. There's so much happening around the world, which has not probably been documented as much on our mainstream media, but there is uproar in many countries at this moment in time. I think people are very struggling with life, the cost of living. There's so many challenges that people are facing that their frustrations are kind of, they're taking it out in the streets, whether it be Sri Lanka, where the Prime Minister actually had to flee the country. And I know a few Sri Lankans that work with us, they're very concerned about what's happening in their country. I think, is it Draghi or Draghi, the Italian Prime Minister, offered his resignation. In the Netherlands, the truck drivers are really against some kind of pressures that the governments are putting on their farming and their ability to farm.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because you're absolutely right. And what's crazy is no one's heard the Dutch farmer media blackout. Right? So it's really interesting, right? But the anti-nitrogen comes from Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, and Mark Rutte. So very interesting that this approach that's impacting the farmers and preventing them from doing what they need to do.
I mean, it
is crazy, but the Dutch people are completely behind their farmers. But the action spread to Germany, Italy, and Poland.
Of course.
And everybody's trying to keep it quiet. I just find that extraordinary. Why? Why would you try and bully farmers?
Well, come on, Ammar. This is part of a really horrible, a really vindictive, malicious, whatever words you want to use. There is a really horrible kind of plan, which is outrageous. I mean, nitrogen, it's effectively, is that caused from cows farting? Are you telling me that cows farting and the nitrogen that creates in the air is causing greenhouse emissions to go up and this, that, and the other, when you've got millions and millions of vehicles every single day? You've got the governments that are creating weapons and dropping bombs in the atmosphere.
Right? Nitrogen pollution, right? 78% of the air we breathe, and have always breathed, not just now, 78% of the air we breathe is nitrogen. It's been part of our world forever.
I mean, I think even if I don't know all the science behind it, I think what people, you don't have to be intelligent to have common sense. If you don't know the science, cows and animals cannot cause the harm in the atmosphere that some sectors are making it out to be. And maybe that's why people's, when it's not just individuals' livelihoods that are on the line, but we want to eat, as human beings, we want to eat good, pure, organic food. I want that that's what I would like to eat on
Yeah,
a
but
day-to-day basis.
so the thing is, Jeff, right, that in Sri Lanka, right, they stopped tourism, right? So they stopped people, and Sri Lanka is, like, you know, steeped in history, huge tourism. So they stopped it, and then they went from that to the banning of nitrates and affecting crops. All the crops failed. So all the crops in Sri Lanka failed, and the economy is destroyed.
Of course. And this was the plan of the WEF. And I'm glad you touched upon that, because WEF, World Economic Forum,
We don't do conspiracy theories.
it's
So
not,
these are
it's not
all,
so much conspiracy, Ammar. If
yeah, I
something's
know.
there on their website and it's their plan, it's out there, they have meetings and there's outcomes of meetings, which they then share what their plans are, the economic plans for the world. So it's not a conspiracy, it's an organization who is there. It exists, everyone knows about it, everyone knows how powerful they are. All the powerful individuals and states and heads and A, B, C, and D, they go to Davos every single year. So it's not a conspiracy, it's just an organization, the World Economic Forum, and they come up with strategic plans for the world, which they feel is for the best interest for the world. And a lot of governments and a lot of the leaders are buying into their plans. Now, the people in these countries have risen and they said that we don't agree with your plans because we feel that your plans are affecting us and our livelihoods, and we're gonna take the action into our own hands because we value the importance of farming. I mean, it's what we eat. We don't want to eat processed foods. We want to eat good food made by good farmers. That's how it has always been. So why change that? Why put the farmers under threat? Because if you put the farmers under threat, you're putting us at threat. Because what are we going to eat when we go to the Tesco shopping aisles? What are we going to end up eating, Ammar? Food made in the factories, which is what they want to do. I mean, it's absolutely shocking that what is going on, and you know, you have to understand why these people are taking this kind of action, and when the people wake up and the government is made up with a few individuals, but in Italy the protests have been incredible, and it's forced Draghi or Dragu to he was at the NATO summit in Spain. He had to leave early because he felt that his position was under threat and the people didn't stop. So I think, you know, the world leaders have to work in the best interest of their people, because that's why they've been put into power for. And when that doesn't happen and the mass realize, then what are they supposed to do when you have all these pressures on them? Because people got instincts sometimes for us to survive and look after our families. When that's under threat, people don't really know what else to do.
So anyway, it's been a very interesting week in politics as well. So what's happening globally, I don't, I'm simply going by reference, and there's huge protests going on that people aren't seeing, including in places like Canada, various other places and spaces. I just find it extraordinary that you're having to resort to alternative media rather than our news sharing what should legitimately be shared, because people need to be informed on some of the challenges that are affecting us. So when we start talking about cost of living crisis, well, clearly, if farmers have been impacted for the last few years, then naturally that's going to hit our table, right? Everything's going to cost more if they've been unable to feed their animals, grow crops, because of incredible policies and such like. Anyway, you're listening to Ammar and Jalf live on our weekly radio show right here. And I mean, the headlines of the week. So Sri Lanka, that had been going on for a long, long time, right? And it is crazy that people are struggling with power cuts, shortages of basics like fuel, food, medicines. And he pledged to stand down on Wednesday amid mass protests over the island's worst economic crisis in decades. And the president fled overnight on a military jet. Prime Minister has told the military to do whatever is necessary to restore order after protesters stormed his office. But some of the stories that were coming out were that he'd gone to the airport and the staff at the airport didn't help him.
No, I think he didn't go via the airport, Ammar. He went via one of the marine ships. He
No, it
was
was a
seen
military. No, he flew out on a military plane. I'm saying he first went to the airport,
Okay.
and the airport security staff wouldn't come and stamp his passport.
Okay.
So he had to then go back, and then
Okay.
he came again, type of thing. So anyway, however it was, but people stood up. Rightly, they are aggrieved. And here's the thing: if this is happening globally, and it's starting to happen in Western countries like the Netherlands, like the Dutch, like now Italy, like all of these, how long before it comes here?
Whether it comes to UK or not, Ammar, I think the fact that if it comes to our doorstep in Italy, I think that's saying so much. I've said, if our listeners go back to what we've been saying for the last maybe 8, 9, 10 years or so, when there was talks about Russia, and we have a little bit more of an insight maybe than some. And we've said on many, many occasions, just don't keep on poking that big bear. Just let that big bear do its thing, as long as it doesn't cause a direct threat to our nation, Europe. Just stay out of it. But we didn't. We kept on poking. And when that big bear uses its might to stop, if they want to, there's all these sanctions that have been put upon Russia, but they don't seem to be that much affected by the sanctions. It's not like the destruction of countries such as Iraq and Libya and Syria and Somalia, all of these countries. But this is a superpower in so many ways, and the energy resources they have, it gives them incredible power. So by poking that big bear, and if they've starting to say that, yeah, we're gonna give you gas only if you pay us in rubles, and the EU is saying don't pay in rubles, and someone like Germany, they don't get any gas, it means that the industry can't function. It means that we don't get any products that are from Germany. So if you have a car, for example, and a particular factory shuts down and you need a part from that factory, but they don't have any gas, that means that factory shuts down. It affects everybody. So this is how the connected global world, we're so intertwined with all of the nations around the world that if something happens in one country, it affects things in other countries. And so, and we've said all along that there needs to be, the diplomats should come up with diplomatic solutions, not have this strong appearance that, yes, we are going to be really, really strong and we're not going to bow down to Russia. But you're supposed to be a diplomat where you come to a diplomatic agreement and an arrangement, and you come up with solutions that then subsequently don't hurt us, the public. But they don't seem to, the leaders seem to be hell-bent on their positions, and they're not backing down, and it's leading to this kind of crisis. So somebody somewhere needs to sit down and really sit with Russia and America. All the world powers need to sit down, which they haven't even done, Ammar. Can you believe that? Like China, America, Russia, Britain, all the UN Security Council countries, France, Germany, they haven't sat down to solve this current world crisis, which is just incredible. I just can't believe they haven't done that. And look at what's happening around the world. And that's going to continue until those leaders figure out, oh yeah, let's sit down now and sort this out, lads.
It's crazy.
So hopefully they will do that soon. But obviously, since the last time we were on the show, Ammar, I think Boris Johnson has offered his resignation. There are a lot of new candidates that are looking.
So I was there. I was there on Wednesday, and it was a very interesting experience being in Parliament. I was at a round table with Lord Ravi Ranger and various others as the launch of the Northern Asian think tank, and all of them were there. Rishi, Boris, the Prime Minister's question time was crazy. It was just like literally mad. Everything and everyone was going on. It was like, oh my gosh, level of security, police, people ranting and raving. It was good. It was a good experience. But you're right. It's very, very a peculiar time at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, who do you think the new leader is going to be, Ammar?
Yeah, it's a great question. I imagine it's probably going to be Liz Truss.
You think so?
Yeah.
Some people are saying possibly Penny. I've never really heard too much of her. Penny Murdo.
Yeah, Penny Murdo.
And do you think Rishi, being an Asian, has no chance, or
I don't think Rishi being an Asian has no chance. It's what would appear, and we don't know what we don't know, right? But it would appear that everyone, because people still support Boris, right? People still support Boris. He's still got his fans. He's still got people who. He's still got friends. He's still got those relationships. It is what it is. Now that he's put his hand up and says, "I'm going," right? There'll be the people who go, "Well, Rishi caused that," and they blamed Sajid Javid as the trigger, but then they sort of have pointed the finger allegedly at Rishi for causing the downfall of Boris.
Okay.
So I mean, this is all allegedly. I mean, for me, I think it'd be wonderful if it was Rishi, because he is and has been committed to the North.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as in, he's genuinely. When I met with him a couple of weeks back down in Doncaster, he was there because of he's an MP in Richmond. It's actually just an hour down the road, if that.
Yeah. But he's an MP in Richmond, but he lives in London, though. Is that right?
No, he's in Richmond. He lives in Richmond.
Oh, really?
Yeah. As in him and his wife, and it's an interesting. Yeah, he is the MP for Richmond, and that's his seat. And as a consequence, that was one of the reasons that Tees Valley got all of the benefits that they did. Or the treasuries moving to Darlington. There's a lot of things happening in Darlington because that's the closest city to Richmond. So he's genuinely committed to the North. I personally have never heard anybody talk as well as him.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do recall in the pandemic when he just came, when Sajid Javid was effectively dismissed, and Rishi Sunak came out of nowhere, didn't he? And then he had the pandemic to deal with. That budget that he did. Oh my goodness, it was just like, wow, who is this guy? And look at him.
Well, it was all dishy Rishi, wasn't it? And
it was like throwing all this money away, and it was incredible. I mean, do you think, Ammar, that this current volatility within the Conservative Party is affecting their decision making in terms of, there was rumors a few weeks ago that they were going to come out and support people with all the troubles that they're facing and support businesses, reduce the VAT and things like that. But there doesn't seem to be anything in the media recently.
Yeah, and that's because, and sadly, our government on both sides seem to be too engaged in politics than in people. You know, as in, gosh, people are dying, people are starving, people, you know, as in people can't get to work. There's been I was reading in the Sunday Times, there's some garages are having to close because people aren't able, they're not able to sustain these independent garages. So petrol stations, Jeff, because people have stopped filling up their cars. Right?
I mean,
so it is crazy. I think there will and there has to be something done. You know, I suppose from Rishi's point of view, he is doubling down, yet in a survey of the Conservative Party, so don't forget there's like 800 members or whatever it is who will choose between them the next leader, and 43% of them were worried about, or the number one concern was cost of living. Right? So cost of living's number one concern. So it's quite challenging, right? But I can understand, I might not agree, but it is what it is. I can understand and I appreciate and respect Rishi's position, right? Because what he's saying is look, we've spent all of this money, whatever you want to, however, it's dead easy to criticize what was spent and what was lost and what happened and all of that. In a crisis, in a catastrophe, you do whatever you think is right. You know, it's only afterwards that you sit and go, well, we shouldn't have done that, we shouldn't have done that, and we shouldn't have bought all of these things. But it's dead easy to do that. What's particularly important is changing things so they never happen again. Right, that's the sign of true leadership and true governance and government. Now he said, I'm not going to reduce taxes because it's the wrong thing to do. Now, if all of a sudden he then sort of said, oh, I'm now a candidate, I am going to reduce taxes, right, as part of my candidacy, well, that's almost slightly unethical. You know, it's almost sort of him pandering to politics. So you have to admire his approach when he turns around and says that I'm not agreeing to that right now. If I get elected as the leader, I'm happy to look at it. And the likelihood is he would have to look at it through a slightly different lens. So the lens of a chancellor is very much around balancing books and making the economy work, right? It's your accountant. It's really, really important. So you have to do the maths and you purely look at figures. As the leader of the country, as the prime minister, your role is distinctly different. And we've seen this. People who have been chancellors become prime ministers have to start looking at things in a different way. And the likelihood is we will see some changes. However, sat here, I feel anything that's going to happen is going to be too little and too late.
But Ammar, what's the reason? I'm not quite clear about why they've turned on Boris so quickly.
Because it's an easy target.
But why though? What's Boris done over the last couple of weeks?
Well, it was just, so here's the thing. If you look at this purely independently, right, Boris, sadly, right, it reacts too quickly and answers things on the hoof, right? And he's been caught out time and time and time again when he said something and it hasn't been true. And that happened again.
Yeah, but do all politicians not do that?
Yeah, no, of course they do, but they don't get caught, do they? That's the difference. And then the second thing is because of Labour and the opposition party, rightly so, you would say, although I disagree somewhat with people using opportunities to beat other people up and calling names and doing all of these type of things. I just think it's wrong. We should be concentrating, both government and the shadow government should be putting the people first. That should be the priority, not the politicians. And that's wrong. And whether that's name calling, I mean, the amount of effort that must go into digging up dirt and sharing silly stories and wasting time. I mean, look, people are starving. The ambulance services are failing. Our NHS is under crisis. The whole world is going to pot. And here we are in a playground with a playground Barney, cha-cha-cha. You know, what's all that about? You know what I mean? It's like get into school and get educated is the thing that should be happening. I just, I find it extraordinary. And actually, it's quite sad, Jeff, that this is happening. It's really sad and it's quite disappointing. But in any event, it is what it is. And touch wood, hopefully we'll come out the other side better for it. I am really worried about people. I am really worried about, and I genuinely am, the cost of living and the impact it's having on kids. It's having, you know, these future generations, these innocent people who simply are unable to survive. Jack, it's wrong.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's going to be, I think everyone has to adapt their lives and lifestyles moving forward, because we do have to be ready.
I mean, we're fortunate. We've got 2 cars. I'm giving up a car. You know, as in, it's like I've got a bus pass.
Well, I'm walking. I'm walking to it.
Good for you. You know, that's because you're a fatty. But you know, that's because you eat too much.
I know, too many curries.
And I'm sure you can't say that. And I don't mean that from a obese point of view. I'm talking about just a jovial nicety, because naturally I'm now going to, allegedly, as long as I put allegedly somewhere, I can, but you're looking very well, John. You're looking very well. You're looking, are you using a particular product?
No, I do you know I am, you know, I have been for a while. So I've obviously, just as starting a skincare business, which has been in the pipeline for a good couple of years, but it's been interesting just to be a part of that journey and understand what kind of things you should be doing and can do to your skin management and face management. I think it's quite important, because it's probably the most important part of our body. It's part of our personality. Everything that we see and everything that we do is through our face in so many ways. So I think it's something that you should take care of and give attention to. And I think if you just understand a little bit more about the scientific processes, I think it's good for all of us to know.
Well, you're looking incredibly well. I'm going to give it a go, actually. I think. Although
I'll give you an induction one day.
All right, okay, wonderful. I must admit the last few months have been horrible for me, but you know, we've been trying to move house. It's been a real challenge, and we managed to move last weekend. So
it's done now, Ammar. It's all done.
And Jeff, if I was to share with you that this week has been really trying, because and it's a really interesting analogy, but it's a matter of fact, right? So we were meant to move in March, and we've booked the removals 4 times. So we've been living out of boxes since March, with a 3-year-old, a 9-year-old, and my home has always been my sanctuary, right? So work's always been hard. It's very challenging. You know, I work hard. and but you know, I'm fortunate to go home and be able to just spend time with the family, and it's very precious to me. And since March, I haven't been able to. There's been no peace, and I've felt both hopeless and helpless. Right? So solicitors have been so incompetent. So our buyers' solicitors have been so incompetent. I wrote them an email in April saying, please, I'm begging you. I actually didn't say I'm begging you. I said, please, can you know, it'd be dead easy for me to make a big fuss about this and be here on social media and all of that. But can you please just show some care and compassion in your job? Because the solicitors below them, that was originally in the chain, didn't do their job. We got to March, we were exchanging and completing, and then they found something on a land registry title deed, which they should have done at the beginning of the process. They found it out at the end. So that chain fell out. They then replaced it with somebody else who was going to do it in literally, they guaranteed us 6 weeks. So that happened, Jaff. And then our seller, right, understandably got really impatient, said, you know, because he moved people out of his property because it was rented. He moved people out of his property in February. So since February, his property's been empty for us to move into. It got to May, and we were like, right, it's meant to be happening. It's meant to be happening. And then something else, and then something else. So I'd written to they're not our solicitors. So it was like, you know, I'd sent them an email. And then in May, I sent them a subsequent email saying, I'm begging you, please, can you just do your job, right? I don't want to complain to anyone. I don't want to do anything. They didn't reply to either of those emails. They sent a reply to my solicitor saying, tell your client not to bother us.
Yeah. No, of course, I didn't expect anything indifferent in today's society.
Well, all right, so helpless and hopeless. Weeks and weeks of turmoil, incredible pressure. We went on holiday, right? We were fortunate to go on holiday, and on the Friday that we went, our buyer had turned around and said, our buyer had said, so our buyer put the property back on the market, Jeff, for a significant amount more than what we were paying for it. And then on the Friday before we went on holiday, he had said, I haven't found anybody else, had a suitable offer. So we went away on holiday, expecting it to exchange that week, because every week we were told by our buyers, oh, it's happening, oh, it's happening, oh, it's happening. And it wouldn't happen. So for weeks this happened. We were there on holiday on the Monday, Jeff, and our solicitor says, oh, your sellers withdrawing the contracts, he's found somebody else. So after 5 months of immense pressure, immense pain, immense suffering, getting to the point where we thought it was going to happen, came back, like, it spoiled our holiday. We were upset, the rest of it. As in, it was like, oh my gosh, what we're going to do. Came back. I ended up having to then throw thousands of pounds more money at him. And I mean, not like a few thousand. I'm talking like, and we couldn't afford that really. You know, so like, anyway, top and bottom of it was the helplessness and the hopelessness of that experience. I have never, and Jeff, you know, I've transacted in hundreds of properties. I've bought
hundreds
of properties, right? Not just like 2, 3, 4, 5, hundreds of properties.
And big deals, big figures.
Like anyway, and to experience this, and honestly, I should be naming and shaming those solicitors. It is disgusting that they took this sausage machine type of approach. Cost me thousands of pounds and the stress and suffering. Anyway, the point of this is we moved into the house and it's beautiful, and you know, I'm delighted by it, and it's a really big deal, and you know, we're settling. But all of this week, Jeff, I've continued waking up thinking something's wrong, because I was tortured for so long. every single day, I was like, oh, that fear flight. And do you know when you've been tortured every day, every single week for months? You then go, why aren't I being tortured? And it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Well, enjoy the peace, Ammar, and I think.
Yeah, but I haven't got that yet. I haven't got it. Is my point. Anyway, our guest is here this morning, Sean Bullick. Jalf, you remember Sean from?
I do remember Sean.
Anyone?
Yeah. Of course.
So Sean's joining us this morning. So I'm going to bring Sean on, and let's do that now, if we may, because I'm bringing Sean on a couple of minutes early because we've got a couple of things at the end to cover as well. Good morning, Sean. Are you there?
I am there, Ammar. How are you? Long time no see.
Lovely to
Hello,
see
Sean.
you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you, Ammar. Nice to meet you, Jalf. Oh, nice to see you, Jalf. I didn't realise you were here. Right.
Yeah. So we were just seeing. I said, Jalf, you remember Sean? He was.
Of course. Well,
he was an incredible person, and he still is an incredible person. But,
somewhat less so now, but
the last time I saw Sean, you didn't have a big beard, Sean.
That's right. I know it's one of those lockdown things that came to some of us, I think. But Ammar, of course, has set the trend years ago. But
yeah, well, you're both looking very cool. I feel left out.
Well, you're looking, but Jalf's been using these special potions and lotions, Sean, in his
I'm sure.
Yeah. But you're looking very Phil Collins, if I may, and he's a great guy, actually. I enjoy his music very well. Sean, are you a musical type of person?
No, I'm not a sort of a music fan, but I'm absolutely tone deaf when it comes to singing or playing an instrument, fortunately.
Jalf, do you mind continuing for a second and just talk to Sean for 1 second, please?
Of course. So, Sean, God, it's been a few years then. So, what can I ask you what you're doing at the moment for our list to share that with our listeners also?
Yeah, I've set up a company called Let's Stick Together Events, and we run primarily consumer events like the Great Market Caper. I think we'll probably look to branch out into more business events as well in due course. But basically, yes, running that company in order really as a vehicle really initially for the Great Market Caper, and then onwards and upwards. Obviously, I've got a lot of experience of events from NE1 days. So that's what I'm doing really, setting up a business and all that goes with that.
And are you based in Newcastle, Sean, or what's the area that you locate?
Yeah. I live in Gosforth, been here been in the city in the same place for the last 15 years, and I was a student here in the end of the 80s, so spent more time, although I don't sound like it, I said Newcastle than have anywhere else. So very much feel like part of the furniture really.
And I think I remember catching up with you, Sean, a few years ago now. And is it correct? Am I recalling it correctly that you were working in London as a solicitor? Is that your background?
That's right. Yes.
You were at Sheridan's, weren't you?
That's right. Well, your brother is now a partner, I gather.
Yeah. So Ammar, coincidentally, Sean used to work at the law firm where my brother works in London, and he knew all the people that set it up because the same people are still there. So you're a law by trade. Is that you're a lawyer by trade?
Yeah. I did. I was at Newcastle University in politics, and then I went to what was then the Poly, now Northumbria, to do a law profession course and law society finals, and practice as a solicitor for years. Yeah. And actually, funnily enough, I didn't know your brother's name, Jalf, but I mentioned the fact that he was a part of Sheridan's too. I don't know if it's Angie Jenkinson, but she runs the Graham Wiley Foundation, and she's incredibly well connected musically, and she's involved with the Nordhoff Robbins Children's Music Foundation, which I know Sheridan's were involved in right from the start. So there could be some interesting links there. She was at their, I think they do a Silver Clef, I think is their annual award ceremony, and it was last week in London. But if your brother's directly involved or not, I don't know, but there may be a link.
Okay, sure. Oh, interesting. And I also recall that you're very much into art. Is that correct?
Well, I'm certainly not an art expert, but I worked initially as a lawyer, and then it sort of evolved or grew really, but with the National Museums. So yes, I worked very closely with the British Museum and Tate and the V&A and others on all sorts of issues. Some of which were straightforward legal, like the legalities around returning art to Holocaust survivors who'd had their art looted by the Nazis. Some of it was about returning things in the collection to Aboriginal communities. So yes, so I suppose by osmosis, I learned a lot, but I wouldn't profess any art expertise.
Wonderful. Well, this is good. Obviously, Jeff's reminiscing and sharing lots of his memories clearly better than I, although a lot of this is news to me, Sean, but it's very, very interesting. So delighted to have you here. Anyway, we've always held you in the highest of regards, and the work that you've done at any one in particular for me was transformative, and I know that we've connected thereafter as well. So you're now sort of leading this the Great Market Caper, Sean. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. The Great Market Caper, which will be held monthly in Granger Market, right in the centre of Newcastle. The first caper will be the 3rd of September, and each one will run from 6 until midnight on the first Saturday of the month. As I say, first one, 3rd of September. And it should be a great fun night out. Everybody welcome. The format is basically lots of different food, some bars, music, dancing, and then a whole range of other entertainment, from music to comedy to dance lessons to roller skating, roller disco, etc. So it'll be different each time, and it should be, as I say, primarily just a really good night out.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit more for those who don't know about the Granger Market, please, Sean.
Yeah, well, the Granger Market is this absolutely beautiful building right in the centre of Newcastle. So it's just beside the monument, built in 1835, I think it was, and has been a market ever since. It's Grade 1 listed, so it's a fantastic, beautiful architectural structure, and it's enormous. It's really, really big. So consequently, lots of space. We'll be using the alleys. There's 4 alleys, 6 meters wide each, and about 100 meters long, and we'll be putting on all sorts of different activities in each alley. And what we've liked to describe it as really is being like a sweet shop for grown-ups. So as a child goes into a sweet shop and grabs and takes from all different areas, we would like adults to feel the same, grown-ups to feel the same, that they can go and experience all sorts of different things that they wouldn't normally associate with the market.
Amazing. And when is the first one kicking off?
First one's kicking off on the 3rd of September. So that's we sort of feel that's kind of, just after the summer, after the festival season, people going back to school, that sort of thing. So good timing in that sense. Tickets are on sale from our website, which is thecaper.co.uk, from Monday, so Monday the 18th of July. And yeah, we look forward to welcoming as many people as we can get there, really.
Amazing. And Sean, opportunities for stall people with goods and sort of products and things like that to get involved as well?
Absolutely. It's all about being innovative, different, and as varied as possible. So yes, please do. Anybody who's interested in becoming involved, either as a food vendor or doing anything else really, please do get in touch at hello@thecaper.co.uk. And we'd be delighted to discuss that. And as I say, there is a huge range, from food to bars. We talked about one of your colleagues, Ammar, who does soft drinks, which sounded like a very interesting option. And then, as I say, beyond that, there's music and dancing and all sorts of things. One of the areas rather will have dancing, but also mix that up, I think, with some belly dancing, with some line dancing. So there's lots of fun to be had. And we're very keen, as I say, it's a great night out, but we're very keen to support local talent from across the city and across the region. That talent could be entrepreneurial talent, it could be cooking talent, it could be comedy talent, it could be musical talent, but anybody who would like to get involved, as I say, please do get in touch at hello@thecaper.co.uk.
Amazing, amazing. What is this, a regular event? I'm sure you mentioned it's a
Yes,
monthly thing.
it's going to be monthly. So it will be the first Saturday of each month. And if it's successful, which we hope it will be, it will happen more regularly. And yeah, as I say, each one will be different. So the whole idea is that it's innovative and different and changing each time. And it allows us also, obviously, the opportunity to introduce themes. So whether that's, you know, almost chronological themes like 80s or 70s or whatever, or whether it's themes around particular festival, you know, festivals that happen around the world, or whether it's something like Halloween. There's an opportunity, as I say, to mix it up and make it innovative and different and exciting each time. I think that one of the things we really like the idea of is people thinking, oh, Grange Market, I can't imagine the Grange Market, you know, in any form different to what it currently is. That's what gives us the opportunity, I think, to excite and to really get people, really surprise people, I think.
Good. I'm excited by it, and I'm sure Jalf and I will be there on the 3rd
Well, we
of
hope
September.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
doing a bit of that dancing. I don't know about the belly dancing, but
well, there's lots of scope for all sorts of dancing. Certainly, there'll be comedy there. So we've got local comedy collective Felton Out, who are based in Whitley Bay. Will be doing comedy. We'll have roving artists painting people's pictures, etc. So there really will be something for everybody, I think, as well as really great food. So there's some great food in there already, and we're also working with some top chefs across the city. Richard Wheatley from Bow Bar is joining us and doing a couple of stalls, and we're talking to a number of other TBC top chefs, and of course we'd love to see Aberwell in the market, Jalf, if that was ever of interest.
Yes, of course. We are beginning to focus a little bit more on events. We've got a big team in place at the moment. We struggled over the last couple of years because the teams were kind of struggling to get people in to come to work, apart from our core team. So I think we were over all of that. So if there's anything that's interesting out there, we'll certainly look at it. So maybe it's, please feel free after the show's finished to drop an email, and then I'll pass it on to our events manager, and we can certainly have a look at it.
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, well, as I say, I know, Jalf's business is obviously hugely successful, and doesn't need support from the likes of me, but we are nonetheless here to support local businesses and provide other opportunities. So they're very happy to do that, obviously. So yes, Jalf, I'll be in touch after the show.
Oh, sure.
Wonderful, excellent, Sean. So just finally, Sean, people find out more at the
The Caper, which is CAPER, so www.thecaper.co.uk, and you can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram and get more information at The Great Market Caper. So that's Facebook and Instagram, The Great Market Caper.
Wonderful. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us this morning, Sean. We'll get you back on, sort of either just before or probably the week after, so you can tell us all about it and we can regale the stories of Jalf and I and you doing a bit of a jig and all of that thing. So, no, well done.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And yes, I look forward to seeing you both there, and then yes, certainly coming back on the show in due course.
Excellent. All the best.
Thank you very much. Bye, guys.
Bye.
And there we have Sean Bullick, a lovely guy.
Oh,
A lot of time for Sean, actually.
So intelligent, Ammar. When you're the chief executive of anyone, and imagine the position and the background that you must have, the knowledge you have, the foresight that you have for the city. It's very, very talented individual.
And he transformed it into the best performing business improvement district in the country. Everyone came and visited.
Did a phenomenal job.
And I'll tell you what's slightly sad is seeing some of the approaches to turn some of the initiatives on the head. So Alive After 5, right, was a great initiative. It opened up the city, but you know, it's from tea time onwards. And now the council are trying to, well, they've changed the parking. They're going to start charging parking till 6, 7 o'clock in car parks and things like that. And anyway, we've got Vikas joining us now. Let's bring Vikas on. He should have been here earlier, but in true traditional Asian time, he's here. Vikas. Vikas. Hello. Hello, Vikas. Hey, it's all happening.
Yes. Sorry. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Vikas. Good morning.
Hi, Ammar. Hi, Jalf. I was actually listening to you on. Yeah,
Oh,
on my
yeah,
phone. So it was a bit of a delay. I was thinking, oh, I'm not on yet.
all right, okay. No worries. Yeah, there's a delay in case. So please don't swear while I'm on air. I'm loving the post-it notes and the methodology behind you. That's really my bag. But mine isn't as organized as yours there, because very impressive.
I just have to have a visual sort of thing when we come into the room, so we know what everyone's doing, where everyone's at. Really.
Brilliant.
Yeah, great approach. Great approach. Well done. Anyway, Vikas, introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
So I'm Vikas Kumar. I'm director of Gem Arts, and Gem Art is an art organisation. We specialise in South Asian and culturally diverse art. We program festivals, events, concerts, workshops, and we do artist development programs. Why I do it? Because I've got a great passion for the arts, and I know that arts can bring communities and cultures together. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It. And realizing we're in the final few minutes of our show, and you know, really we've got you on because the amazing magical Masala festival is taking place, right?
Yep, it is back in the 7th year. So we're launching it with Sevens at Dance City on Monday. So yeah, it's a fantastic dance performance there, and we've got a whole host of performances, events across Newcastle and Gateshead and wider, in venues and places, and some amazing, fantastic performances from dance, visual arts to music. You can find everything on gemarts.org, because I won't run through all of it as well. And as well as that, we're working again, collaborating with Dabawal as well. And we've got a fantastic Masala Festival menu launching on Monday as well, haven't we, Jalf?
Yes, definitely. We're looking forward to it. We all kind of
gearing up. You looked a bit surprised there. You were saying, oh my God, I forgot about that. But,
we've been working on it. Our marketing team's been ready. The teams are ready and raring to go. Really looking forward to it. The partnership is brilliant. We've done it for a few years now, and it's just great to be part of Gem Arts and the exciting events that we've got planned up for the week ahead.
Yep.
Give me some headlines though. I'm just on your website, so give me some headlines.
So we've got incredible, it launches on Monday with a fantastic dance performance by a leading dance company called Sevens at Dance City, and that's celebrating the 7th Masala Festival as well. We've got Jasdeep Singh Degun at Sage Gateshead on Friday, which is the 22nd, and he's just released his new album on Real World Records, which is Peter Gable's record label, and he's going to be accompanied by a 10-strong ensemble of classical, Western classical and Indian classical musicians as well, and it's going to be epic. It's going to be really fantastic. So there's still tickets available for then. We've got an incredible South Asian film program at the Baltic midweek, and we've got a poetry event also at the Culture Lab with Newcastle University. And we've got a whole set of workshops, and it culminates also on the 24th, which is a Sunday, with our sort of mini Mela. So there's going to be free events for children, families to take part in, workshops, performances, and that's in Gateshead at Bencham Grove Community Centre. So yeah, there's a whole host of amazing stuff that's happening. Great artists, regional, national and international artists as per usual. And there'll be a few pop-ups and other surprises throughout the week.
Amazing. And before people go and see Yatri on Thursday at 8 o'clock, before that, because we're going to get finished well before that, is the Curry Club as well. So we've got Veena Soni sort of headlining that, talking about awesome, and it's all about, you know, sort of, we'll mention clearly once again the Masala Festival. So it's all going on next week, is what it is. And it's a combination of things, isn't it, Vikas, in that there's some free events, there's some paid for, there's some in between and things like that. So there's something for everyone.
There is, yeah. We want to make sure that, you know, that there's different sort of events for all age groups, for all cultures. Essentially, it is a celebration of South Asian culture and identity, but equally, it is about sort of British contemporary South Asian culture as well. And that's what we want to make sure that, you know, we highlight that. And so it's for the widest possible audience, for all audiences, from children to older people, and free events like I say, but then equally there's a few paid events. So hopefully see everyone there.
Wonderful. Our time
Final
almost runs
five,
out a
hoping
minute
to be
ahead.
Britain's next
But
Prime
anyway,
Minister,
thanks,
are
Vikas.
preparing
Come
for
on,
his first
it's got
live TV
four
debate
is the
tonight.
future.
It will be the
All
first
right,
chance the
take
public
care.
have had
Thanks
to
a lot.
put their
Thanks a lot,
questions
guys.
to Rishi
Bye.
Sunak,
Bye.
Penny Mordaunt, Liz Truss,